Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do my Pan Nose eyeshadow slash Pan Nat palette. So this is a continuation of the Pan Nose eyeshadows project that I've been running all year long, but I did switch it out come September because I moved in September. And then last update, I decided to roll in shades from my Shop My Stash palettes at the time and sort of put a usage goal to use at least all of the shades in the two palettes, and also I had two shades from each palette that was more of a priority shade, a shade that I wanted to focus on. So I'm going to do an update for you. This has been actually a lot of fun, a lot more interesting than Pan Nose eyeshadows in my opinion, and I might continue the project into the new year similar to how I've been doing it. Today, what I'm going to do is just give you an update of all the shades that I've used in the palettes, what they look like now. And also, I'm going to roll in two new palettes and then pick two shades from those palettes as focus shades. And then obviously the same thing for next month. I want to try to use every single shade in those palettes. They are bigger palettes than what I've been working through, I think. They're bigger palettes. So I'm challenging myself, but I really like it because when I have the Pan Nose eyeshadows, I focus on one shade. And for the most part, if I have 5 different palettes that have been pulled into the project, I only focus on those 5 shades and then I forget the rest of the shades in the palette. But because I'm doing a Pan Nat palette as well, or just like a focus or usage on that whole palette, then it gives me the opportunity to work on all the rest of the shades in the palette and actually get to know the palette a little bit better than just one shade. So that's kind of what I've been doing in a roundabout way. I've rambled on too much. Let's get into the update. So the two palettes that I had rolled in was the ABH Norvina and also Colourpop California Love. So I'll start with this one. So this was a brand new palette that I had rolled in come October when I did my Shop My Stash, and then when I chose to use it for this project, I had only used it maybe a week before I added it in, and I've really enjoyed it. So it's looking like this now. I'm trying not to blind you too much, but I really enjoy this palette. I know that it's very neutral. It's a lot more warm tone than I initially realized. It definitely leans more in the neutral to warm tone. And yeah, I think the only shade that's cool tone would probably be this one. Not even this one. When you look at it, you kind of think it might be cool tone, but it's not. It's definitely leaning more warm tone, which honestly doesn't matter to me. I like both. So the two shades that I had in here was Diego. So it looks like this. It's a lovely, gorgeous shimmer. I'll just swatch it for you. I think it's so pretty. It's one of my favorite shades in this palette. And it's just been a joy to use, I swear. It's been so beautiful and buttery and delicious. And I have a little bit of a dent, which I'm kind of happy about since it's a brand new palette. I wasn't really expecting a huge amount of dent, but I do have a dent, so that's really nice. I'm just going to see how many times I used it. So I used this 6 times this last month while I've been tracking it. And the other focus shade was this one called The Bay. This is just a regular matte. I won't swatch it. It's a little bit boring. It's, this is the lightest matte, and then this is pretty much the second lightest matte in the palette. I only used that one 5 times. So I used this 6 times and this one 5 times. I did say to myself I wanted to use them 10 times, but honestly, I'm actually quite happy with 5 times. I think that was enough because I did use the rest of the shades at least once. So I'll just go through these really quickly because I don't want this video to be super long. I realized I have it upside down. I don't know why I'm doing it like that. So that's the way that I've sort of written down all of the shades. So the first one here is called, so we've got Diego, which I've already said I've worked 6 times. Gnarly, I did 5 times, but you really can't see any change to it. Sequoia, I want to say that's how you say it. I only used that once. I didn't really do any sort of orangey looks this last month. Gold Rush I used twice. This one, which is called Highway 1, I used twice as well. That's actually a really beautiful shade. It's one of those mattes that has the glitter, but I honestly don't mind because I don't really notice the glitter. Like both of these have the sequins in them, but to be honest, I don't really mind those. And then Laguna I only used once as well. This El Capitan is obviously the pure glitter shade, but I actually kind of like it. I used that twice. Surf Rider I used once. What is this called? Kayuenga I used once. Mission I used once. And Cruising I used once. And then yeah, the Bay I used, as I said, 5 times. So yes, a lot of them I only used one time because I had the 2 focus shades. But honestly, I don't feel like I forced myself to use any of the shades aside from this one, Sequoia and Laguna. Those 2 I definitely focused on using them at least once. The others I naturally used them once or more, and I really had such a pleasure with this. So yeah, I'm going to be doing my Shop My Stash soon anyway. I think I might film that even today. So I'm going to be rolling this out today and rolling it out of my Shop My Stash too, because I've been working on it for the last month and a half, and I'm really excited about, you know, the palette itself, and I really enjoyed it. So I just kind of want to move on and try something new. So that's the update for that palette. And then the Norvina is it wasn't a brand new palette, but it was brand new to me. It was decluttered to me from my mother. And it looks like this right now. This is such a beautiful palette, but I swear, I don't know if I just have a faulty one, but it is so flaky. I find most of these shades, you know, especially Dreamer is incredibly flaky. I lose so much of it just by dipping into it once. Rose Gold isn't as flaky, but it's definitely beautiful. And I think Summer and Dazzling all have the same sort of flakiness about it, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't want, you know, it's such a beautiful shade, Dreamer, and I feel like I'm going to hit pan really, really soon. Looks crazy. But anyway, my focus shades, I had 2 focus shades in this one as well. So the first one was Rose Gold right here. So that one I used 8 times. I love this. I used it so many times in my Shop My Stash before I decided to put it into this project. So there is a lot of love in here. I don't recall what it looked like, but I will put a photo. Hopefully I can fit a photo in somewhere, but I really, really love this. And the other one was Eccentric. So this one I wasn't too keen on using because I was using so many warm tone neutrals in here. And this kind of just leans into that. Really wanted another pink shade, but that was fine. I actually ended up using it 4 times, which is more than I thought I would. And I did use every single shade in this palette at least once, so I'll just go through that. I really, really enjoyed dipping into this. It was such a pleasure. I kind of forced myself not to use it every single day because I still wanted to use some of my Shop My Stash palettes and also the California Love. So I really desperately tried not to use this every time I did my makeup. It was so hard not to dip into this Rose Gold all the time because I think it's so stunning. Actually, I'll swatch that because, I don't know, if you don't have this palette, which I think most people do, but if you can get your hands on it, it is just, I just love that shade. I think it's so beautiful. It's a little bit on the darker side for a shimmer, but honestly, actually, I need to wipe my hand. It is so beautiful. I really, really love that shade. So I was so happy that that was rolled in because that is my favorite shade in there. So let's talk about numbers. I'm just looking down here because I've written everything down. So Dreamer, which is this one over here, I used that 8 times. So you can definitely see there's a lot of disturbance in that one. I used it, you know, in my inner corner. I really, really enjoyed that. Summer, I actually only used it once. I think all the shimmers in this are stunning. When you swatch them out, they're so beautiful. And I'm surprised that I only used it once, but it is a little bit more of a neutral shimmer. And when I was looking into this palette, I was doing more pinky purpley looks. So this one kind of got forgotten about, I guess. And then I realized I want to use every single shade. So I actually used it just last week. Wild Child, surprisingly, I only used this once. I just wasn't, it's a really, really bright pink. And I wasn't doing a lot of bright pinks. I was doing more, you know, popper pinks or more purplies. And yeah, so I only used that once. Celestial, which is, yeah, I skipped Rose Gold because we already talked about that. Rose Gold I used 8 times. Celestial I used twice. I think that's a beautiful shimmer. It's not as opaque as Rose Gold or some of the, or you know, the Summer one or the Dreamer. It's a little bit more of a clearer, I mean, it's not clear, but it's just not as opaque. It's sort of more like a topper shimmer. I think that's the word I'm trying to find, but I really think it's beautiful. Dazzling I only used once, which is surprising to me, but it's so beautiful. And Drama I used 4 times. I actually liked this. I used it to deepen out looks, even though it's a shimmer, it worked really nicely to deepen out looks. And I think it was really fun to use. So I used that more times than I thought. And then we've got Base, which I used, Base? Yeah. Base I used 5 times just as a base, basically. It actually is more of a satin. It's not I don't feel like it's a pure matte, to be honest. I feel like there's a little bit of satin to it. I don't know if I'm wrong there, but it doesn't feel like a pure matte to me. And then you've got Soul, which I used 2 times. I actually really like this. I didn't think I was going to dip into this at all, but I think it was really nice. I just used it yesterday, actually, for the 2nd time. Really enjoyed that. Incense I use twice. Love was really nice as well. I used 3 times. I think Love is a beautiful matte. And then Volatile I used twice as well. I didn't use this one too many times because, you know, as I said, this shade was one of my focus shades, and it just leaned more towards the California Love. And also Volatile, I felt like it leaned more into like the neutral looks. So I thought I might use it more times to deepen out looks, but I really didn't. I only used it twice. Eccentric, I already said I used that 4 times. And then Passion, I used 3 times. Passion's a beautiful color. It's a beautiful matte. I don't know if you can really see the dips. I personally can, and I'm sure while I'm talking, I might put pictures of what it looked like before and after, because I think that's always fun to do. But I just love this palette, and I'm so happy that I did this type of change to the project, because then I got a chance to use every single shade, and it wasn't just in my Shop My Stash. I could just mark down like how many times I use shades, and, you know, had focus shades. I just really like that. So that's why I'm going to carry it on for another month, but I am ready to roll these 2 out because I feel like I've given them enough love and attention, and I want to give some other palettes attention. So let's see what we're going to do. All right, moving on. From my current Shop My Stash, if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it if you want to. I picked 3 palettes, but out of those 3, there's 2 palettes that I kind of want to keep working on and maybe pick some focus shades from it. So I want to roll these 2 into the project. So the first one, I really haven't used this enough, and because I want to film a new Shop My Stash soon, because I do want to roll out some other things, I want to pick this into the project because it is a new palette for me, and I haven't touched all the shades. So I am going to roll in my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. This, on the surface, is stunning. I do feel like I'm not 100% sure on it though. So it is really, really beautiful. As you can see, I've dipped into Twilight already, and Nefertiti and Amethyst. I've also done Angelic and Eden, and also this base, but I haven't dipped into all the other beautiful shades. I just think it has a lot of potential, and I just want to work on it. It does lean more warm tone, brown, orangey. So when I did a look using Eden, Angelic, and something else, I'm not sure, it was much more orange tone than I expected. So I need to be a little bit careful and just sort of work it out. I just want to test out all these beautiful shimmers as well. There's just a lot of color in here that I'm excited to use, and I haven't used it enough. So I want to roll this one in, and I'm also going to do a number generator and pick 2 shades from here at random that will be my focus shades. But overall, I want to use every single shade at least once, like I've done in the last month for these other 2 palettes. And then before I roll in those 2 focus shades, I'll just talk about the next palette that I want to work on, which I have mostly on my face today, and it is also in my Shop My Stash. And I love this palette. I've had it for probably a year now, almost. It came out last year, and it is the Book of Magic, and I loved it as soon as I used it, got it, tested it out, and I really haven't used it very much recently. So I pulled it into my Shop My Stash and I absolutely love it. And I have some blue on today, and you know, blue is not really a comfortable shade for me to wear normally. So I've been dipping out of my comfort zone, as you were, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I really like this look, to be honest, but it's going out of my comfort zone and it's kind of fun. So I've been doing a lot of neutral looks in the last couple of months, and I really want, you know, this has got a little bit of neutral, but I really wanted to have some brighter shades in to focus on. So I don't know what shade is going to be picked, but again, I'm going to pick 2 new shades from here, just like randomly selected. But yeah, I love this palette. I mean, I have a little bit of a pan in there, and I have this on today. This is called Elixir. I started with that, and I was like, oh, let me put some more in. So I put Wish on, and then I put Spell on, and I deepen it up with the Hex, with the black in the outer corner, and I also put Manifest on, which actually was in my Pan Nose eyeshadows earlier this year, and there's a really light dip in there. So I don't know, you know, there is potential that I could hit pan on one of these in the next month if, you know, it's a shade that I'm really going to go for. It's my focus shade, because they are really shallow, and it's such a beautiful palette. So those are the 2 palettes I'm going to randomly select. I did not bring my tablet to do my random thing, so let me just go grab that. I'll be back in a second. All right, I am back. So, oops. In the Huda Beauty, I have, how many shades are in here? An 18 palette? Yeah, 18. Okay. So, in my Huda Beauty, I've got 18 shades, so I'll do 1 out of 18. And I'm just going to randomize now. So we've got 6 and 8. All right, so let's see what those are. Those are my 2 focus shades for the month. But as I said, I want to focus on the whole palette and use up at least one, use at least the shades at least. Use all shades at least once. Oh my gosh. Okay, so 6 is called Oud, which is right here. So it's like a matte, like a brownie matte, not very exciting. And then 8 is Nefertiti, which is a lot more interesting. So let me just swatch those out actually. I'll just wipe my hand. So this is Oud. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but it's just a normal, regular brown matte, which will come in handy for sure. And I do a lot of neutral looks. And then Nefertiti is definitely more of your inner corner shimmer, which is a beautiful, beautiful shimmer. And I actually used that this last Shop My Stash rotation. I have used it, and it was very, very beautiful. So those ones are fine. I'm actually happy with those. I think honestly they're easier shades for me to focus on, as opposed to if Cosmo was picked, which is obviously this glitter. Actually, I think I used that. Yeah, there's disturbance on that. I used that for one of the looks. This retrograde I'm really excited to try, because it's obviously got a little flip. So yeah, I'm really excited about working on this whole palette, but those 2 shades mostly. And then let's see in my Book of Magic. So the Book of Magic, I believe, has 20 shades. So let's just change this. Okay, I've done 1 to 20 now, and then I'll do 2 and 20. Okay. So 2 is this Stardust. So this one is actually kind of a neutral, so it's not too bad. It's really, really beautiful. It's like a warm tone shimmery brown, which I really like, with a hint of orange to it. Very, very nice. And then the last one is this blue shimmer. Oh my gosh. So I am going to be doing a lot more blue looks, because I need to focus on this. This is beautiful. Yeah, so this is really beautiful. It has like a hint of green in the undertones. So I don't know. Let's see if I can do that. So these are going to be my focus. I mean, that's very, very neutral leaning. I actually thought that more maybe like a pink or a purple was going to be picked, especially from Huda Beauty as well. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. Especially from this palette, I thought that we would get something a little bit more interesting, but that's why I am focusing on everything, not just those shades, because otherwise you don't get to know your palettes. And I was looking through my makeup and I realized I don't really know this palette as a whole, you know. I want to know this palette. And so, I don't know. I really like the way that I've done this. Hopefully this next month I feel just as inspired as I have done with the Norvina and also the California Love from Colourpop. I do have another palette that was in my Shop My Stash, which is the Wild Child from Colourpop, but I kind of wanted to give myself, I don't know, get away from the Colourpop formula and just try something different. So that's why I didn't really give this one an option to be rolled in, to be honest. And also it's very neutral, this one. It's on the deeper side, but very neutral. And I just wanted a little bit of something different. So I'm really excited about this project. Hopefully this was interesting. Let me know if you like this style of pan nose eyeshadows slash pan that palette. I think for me it kind of works and it's kind of interesting, and if I enjoy it for another month, then I probably will continue doing this version of it for the new year as well. It just kind of works. It takes the monotony out of it, but also you know, the only unfortunate thing is it probably doesn't give me enough time to pan an eyeshadow, but for me it gives me usage goals. And it also gives me the time to fall in love with a palette, or maybe not. Maybe I will realize I actually really don't like this palette. And then I'll know for future, you know, what makeup to go for, what palettes not to buy, what palettes maybe to declutter, etc., etc. So it kind of gives me the option to learn what I have in my stash, because I have done a lot of shopping this last year and sort of impulse buying and buying a lot of stuff and then not really spending the time to actually work on those products and see if I like them. So anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was fun. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you aren't already subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you wanted to come back and see some more videos from me. But otherwise, have a wonderful day and I hope you're well, and I will see you next time. Bye.